Hello, MV Horror Tales. Just a few weeks ago, my friend B and I were in the lounge of my dormitory, studying for exams when he suggested that we take a break. He generated AI pictures on his laptop and showed them to me. It looked kind of fun, so I started doing the same thing on my laptop. We started generating scary photos and showed each other. After a few of them, I was reminded of the Hmong ghost stories and their thumbnails on YouTube. I wanted to recreate something similar, so I cleared the text box and I typed in, "Scary Asian lady at a funeral home." I carefully studied the image that was generated. It showed rows and rows of empty chairs in a funeral home setting. In the center sat a woman. I felt a bit creeped out because the lady in the photo staring back at me, she looked like my step-grandmother who just died a few years ago. I don't have any fond memories of this lady because, as a kid, I was really scared of her. Back when I was still little, my mom would bring her over to our house and babysit us. When my siblings and I are alone with her, she acted very weird. As soon as my parents leave the house, she would start talking to herself and then she'll start laughing, like she's having a fun conversation with someone. My siblings and I don't interact with her. We usually stay in our rooms. But sometimes, she would come and crack our doors open and then peek in. She would just look at us quietly and menacingly until we call her out, and then she'll act like she was on her way to go do something else. One thing about my step-grandmother is that she had a lot of missing teeth. As a little curious boy, I once innocently asked her where her teeth went. I don't know if that embarrassed her or what, but every time after that when she came over, she would purposely tagu by chasing me around and nipping at my arms. Though her bites weren't painful, they left temporary indentations on my skin, along with her saliva that stank. I couldn't stand her creepy behavior, let alone her presence. My parents didn't think too much about her behavior. They just took it as a grandmother's love and playfulness towards her grandkids. And note, she always acted normal when my parents were around, so they found our claims to be unbelievable. My mom finally stopped bringing her around after this one incident where she randomly peed in the corner of our house. And that was pretty much the last time that I saw her. And I had forgotten all about her for the most part until seeing this AI picture. Nevertheless, I shrugged it off and tried to reason with myself that this is all just part of the AI database and it couldn't possibly be my step-grandma. I felt strangely paranoid that night. While laying in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about the picture.
Kenny,พี่ขอต้องโทรปอลอพี่ขอต้องโทรปองกาลอ
I woke up from the scary-ass nightmare and checked my phone to see that it was fricking 3 a.m. I fixed my pillow and repositioned myself so I could fall back asleep. My cheek landed on a big splotch of drool on my pillow. I hadn't drooled in a long time, so this one surprised me. I wiped it off with my hand. That's when the smell hit me. The disgusting odor from the drool was exactly like the one that used to linger on my arms, along with those bite marks from that lady. I had an exam later that day, and I needed the sleep, so I didn't say anything. I just flipped the pillow over and continued to sleep. Despite my braveness that night, I've been dreaming about her a lot. I hear the same knock at my door every night. I haven't told my mom yet, but I think I should if it persists. Back when I was still a kid, we hosted my brother-in-law's side of the family to stay with us for a few days because they were attending the Fresno Hmong New Year celebration. They lived in California as well, but in the city that was far from Fresno. Amongst the family members that stayed at our place, one of them was my brother-in-law's cousin named Jennifer. Unknown to anyone, my brother Kong harbored a secret admiration for Jennifer from the moment he laid eyes on her that very first night that they arrived. At the New Year, once we all entered the chop ball together, both of my brothers separated from the group to go popo and look for girls. During that time, Kong found his way to get alone time with Jennifer in the chop ball. The both of them talked and they came to really like each other. For the next several days of the celebration, the two of them would separate from the group, each saying that they were gonna go jipungi somewhere else. But really, the two of them would just meet up and spend the day together. They started dating after the New Year and kept their relationship very sneaky and low-key. That was up until when my brother was about to graduate from high school. One day, he sat down with my parents.
Hey, Mom and Dad. I think we're ready to your bonnet了.
Có your bonnet nó lo. Có tiền lô tôi chỉ tàu vào nè.
Yeah, but we're say your nè.
Có nhà ở tôi chỉ tàu bảo có tụi một lòng cao ít rồi đó liền. Có tụi lòng cao ít họ sang ác chi thế, họ không mang tự tồn tại mà.
Nãy tôi bảo nó đó là, nếu như ai vậy ý hoa tôi cousin Jennifer, thằng đó là tôi bún ở bên sao?
My dad went momentarily speechless, his mind struggling to comprehend who my brother was confessing to be his girlfriend.
Bây giờ chân đừng suy, nãy tiêu mù sĩ yo làm một tàu na.
Please, Dad. Tôi sẽ sinh nhật rồi nè.
Nãy sinh nhật rồi mà. Ta chỉ mù chỉ tàu được con là mấy tu. Yo có tu sister chỉ tàu mù yo có tu yo ý hoa mà nãy chỉ thả sĩ yo tàu mà. Ta chỉ có tu không câu cái nãy tu yo kia có tu yo ý hoa tu muốn bao giờ na. Mi hai tia, bây giờ sinh family sư, giờ này chỉ có tiền lúc tới lúc chơi có hai bên à, này bảo rồi đó.
Jennifer, đấy chỉ là ý hoa tu blood sister cái này.
Có hai nấu trên nấu sư nè, lý trả là bây giờ chỉ thâu là con nào yên chỉ簡單啦，因為嗰嘢要tu才nấu sư nè.咁lâu có hai cái rong ở bên tu, cho có tu luôn có nó chơi mà, luôn có sư cho mua nông tàu mà thiệt đó. Có cho泡điểm cho tế là cũng mỗi chẳng xài cho rong có thiệt mà mà sai chẳng được mà.
Yeah, and those aren't family? I don't want to hear about it.
Jennifer's folks also felt the same way, and they were very much against the relationship, so she soon broke it off with Kong. And that's how their relationship ended. Nothing much could be done, so Kong just cried and cried. He tried to move on, but visibly you could tell that Jennifer left a big void in his heart. A long, devastating 2 years later, my parents get the news from Jennifer's parents that she's gone off to marry her boyfriend, and my family was invited to attend the wedding. My brother was crushed by the news. It sent him down another spiral. He began thinking about the past and cried again. Kong had a list of sad, depressing Hmong songs that he would karaoke to in our second living room. Especially at nighttime, he became obsessed with singing the song Có đa của tôi by Cho Hyung. On the wedding day, Kong skipped out on it and just slept in all day. Not long after the wedding, my parents left for their vacation in Thailand. I was only 5 years old at the time and shared a room with my parents. With them being gone and away from home, I migrated over to Kong's room to sleep with him. As I laid in bed next to him, he suggested,
Nina, come long mong bedtime story ayo.
No, I'm scared. I won't be able to fall asleep.
He put it on anyways. I turned my back towards him, plugged my ears, closed my eyes, and tried to fall asleep. After a while, I successfully started drifting to sleep. I woke up to Kong nudging me.
What? What do you want?
I turned around and Kong was gasping for air. He looked at me with a sense of relief, as if I'd just saved his life. He yanked out the wooden knife from under his pillow and directed it toward the empty corner of the room. He threatened,
Get away from me and my sister. You do that one more time, I'm gonna kill you.
Completely petrified, I started crying. I had no idea what was going on. He bravely rushed to the light and switched it on. The room was empty and nothing was out of place. He left the light on for the rest of the night. The next morning, Kong told me and my siblings.
2 weeks ago, I started seeing someone stand in the corner of my room. I haven't been too bothered by it because it doesn't do anything to me. But yesterday when Nina came over to sleep with me, while I was listening to ghost stories, that shit walked through the walls. She had Hmong clothes on. It got on the bed and it started stepping on Nina, making its way over to me. I rushed to get up, but before I could do that, she jumped and landed on top of me. I became paralyzed, and then she started choking me. That's why I nudged Nina to help.
Once my parents returned from Thailand, they had to call Kong. The Tsining concluded that the ghost lady was able to latch herself onto Kong due to his visible depression. All the crying and karaokeing to sad songs that made him the perfect target to be taken advantage of. The Tsining changed Kong's name, which gave him a new identity. Had Kong let the problem persist without telling us, the Hmong ghost lady would have tried to drag him into the afterlife. Back in 2018, right before the pandemic, my family went vacationing in Laos and Thailand. Unbeknownst to me, upon our return, something sinister lurked in the shadows, following me back home. When we got home, the entire family was jet-lagged. It was hard to even stay awake after 6 p.m., and then we would get up in the early morning hours around 2 to 3 a.m. On the early morning of our second day back from the trip, my parents were up early watching TV in the living room. The thin walls in our house allowed me to hear everything that they were saying along with the TV audio going on. Despite the noisy surroundings, I remained asleep, utterly exhausted from the jet lag.
Cậu nợ loạn đó bé nhỏ.
Still half asleep and disoriented, I thought the voice coming from the foot of my bed belonged to my boyfriend.
I'm so tired. Wait, but my door's locked. How did Ming get in?
我多大事呢？
I opened my eyes and started blinking rapidly to get rid of my blurred vision. The dim outlines of the hanging curtains and my nightlight were the only things that I could make out. That's when two ominous shadows materialized. One looming by my feet, the other hovering beside my bedside. I instantly became paralyzed. I tried waking myself up into reality, but the forces kept pulling me back into the abyss of darkness. I tried screaming for my mom, who was right outside in the living room, to come help, but I could barely make a sound. One of the guys flipped me over and pinned my arms down. The other pinned down my legs.
Kevin, 到不从你到这干嘛了？先红男呢？
I was saved by the bathroom door slam. It woke me up from my paralysis episode. I grabbed my phone and left the bedroom immediately. For protection, my mom gave me the Hmong knife that she bought from Laos. I thought it would help, but I was wrong. For the next several weeks, I kept getting sat on and continued seeing the two figures. When they appear, I could feel the numbness spread from my feet and then work its way up to the rest of my body, making it impossible to move at all. It got to the point where I was so scared to fall asleep. I would stay up for as long as I could so the exhaustion could just put me into a deep, deep sleep so I could avoid everything altogether. Prior to my family vacation, I made arrangements to adopt a dog for my friend upon my return. When I finally brought the dog home, everything changed. I was finally able to peacefully sleep. By the fourth night, with my new furry companion, I had a dream. In it, the same men were chasing me. I ended up crossing a bridge, and as I looked back, I realized that they stopped chasing me. Standing between me and the guys was a big dog the size of Clifford. I realized it was my dog. When I woke up, there she was, sleeping right beside me. I realized then that this dog was special, my protector. I never felt threatened again.